Today's a very special day. On the surface, you may click on this video. You may see it on your YouTube feed. You might be here live. You might be watching this on Spotify tomorrow, checking it out, expecting a normal episode of TD3 Live. But you may notice this one's late. We're recording this one at 9:59 p.m. Tuesday, May 27th, because we had to wait a few extra hours so we can capture the live reaction to Donovan when the New York Knicks go down 3-1 to the Indiana Pacers. The Cinderella run is seemingly on its last legs. We are here. We might be bringing out the gentleman's brooms. How are we feeling, Donovan?
Knicks in 7. Knicks in 7.
Okay. I asked you before we started, I said, is this going to be a sadness or a rage type of episode? Apparently, it's a copium type of episode. I wasn't aware.
No, I mean, it's 100% on the table. Like,
okay.
you have, obviously, it's not a very possible thing in terms of like statistics, but you have 2 games at home. And really, here's where the actual copium comes into place, because I caught myself even doing it at the end of this game where they're down by 9. And I'm like, it's not a 9-point deficit.
Okay.
It's a 6-point deficit, because all you have to do is just give yourself an opportunity for a shot at the end of the game. You just got to get it to 1 possession. That's it. This is not, you don't have to win 3 games in a row. You just got to win 2, and you get to game 7 and anything's possible. And then game 7 is on your home floor. That's all you have to do, right? That's all you have to do. Also, and I don't care at all what you think of me in this moment. I've been saying it from the start of this series. Mm-hmm. But the gambling fix that is in, the call that was made between the third and the fourth quarter was as egregious as I've ever seen. There was a 12-second span where the New York Knicks got 4 foul calls on them, 2 of them on Josh Hart, on Benedict Mathurin, that did not exist. At the very end of the game, Pascal Siakam was holding OG Anunoby. OG got the foul. The stuff that was happening was shameless. It was awful. I think Adam Silver is so forward-thinking and galaxy brain that he's like, I don't want my biggest markets here. I'm trying to grow the game. We need every market to rise up. So I'm putting in the call for Indiana. That's why I was like, why? If you think that the league is rigged, why don't you do it for New York and LA? Because Silver's trying to build. He's trying to grow. I see the vision. I see it. But ultimately, this game came down to the fact that this team is flawed.
I was waiting for it.
I said maybe we should talk about some
Let's
serious.
talk about damn basketball, because all right now,
You know what I hear?
despair.
You know what I hear?
Bullshit.
Someone not taking it like a man. That's what I hear. I hear bullshit. I hear.
I will say the rest of the I'm dead serious about the refereeing that happened in the fourth quarter was ridiculous. But this team is flawed. This is something that Knicks fans have been going back and forth with all year. It's like, are we going to go far enough to where Tibbs keeps his job, or is this going to be a first round exit to where you can get a new coach in the building? We'll see what happens. And depending on how game 5 goes and how, like, if game 5 ends up being a loss and it is super egregious, then you may be able to get a new coach in the building. We'll see what happens.
Did you take anything before the stream started?
Take any in terms of what?
Medications. Substances.
They're in the chat saying, bro, you had 40 free throws. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly, bro. I'm just like, what are we talking about free throws
Okay,
for?
so again, and this is where I'm probably going to get upset, is that you guys are intentionally being dense. And
I'll tell you what chat said.
I'm telling you, they also can't read, right? Or can't hear, because what I said was in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That is specifically what I said in the fourth quarter. And if you say, oh, you have 40 free throws and all the stuff in the first, second, and third quarter, they was doing good. And I said that the call was made in between the third and the fourth quarter. Now, if you choose not to listen to that part, then okay, that's on you. You can be a dummy.
They're calling you Denial Don.
That's fine. You can give me all the nicknames you want. I'm telling you what I saw, and I'm telling you the truth. Right?
We got 14 people, 100 people in here right now. Appreciate all y'all. As you guys see by the title, we're going to react to Knicks versus Pacers, give you the full breakdown of what we saw, how Donovan's feeling in this moment. Apparently, it's denial. We'll keep talking about that. After that, we'll talk about OKC versus Minnesota. We'll do our normal stream stuff. This is going to be a full regular stream. Mo, what was your biggest takeaway from this? Why are the Knicks down 3-1?
Man, I mean, it's going back to what Donovan said. They've been a flawed team since day one. They ended up being able to do the impossible last series and upset and dismantle the Boston Celtics, only for them to come into the series and get upset and, in my opinion, upset and dismantled by the Indiana Pacers. It's nothing. They're getting dismantled right now.
Okay,
If you're down 3-1, the games are closer. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Dismantled is more looking at the score of the series rather than how these games actually gone. They had one of the biggest collapses, yes, in game one. You have to be up 14 in order to do that. In game two, you have a shot at the end to tie. Like, these games have been close. Then you go in game three and you win the game. So it's like, also, this game was a 6-point game with 2:45 left, right? It's a 2-possession game.
It's a fake 6-point game. It felt like a 10-point game.
The game's about a bucket, and the Pacers are significantly getting more buckets.
You literally saw the bucket going in, and you were like, "Oh wow, this is crazy! It's a game now."
So and then immediately afterwards, I seen Pascal Siakam.
So don't tell me it's fake though. Like
it was a 6-point game for 3 seconds.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a fake comeback.
Again, dismantling is a misrepresentation of how the series has gone. The fact that it's 3-1, that. Right, whether we're getting dismantled or not doesn't ultimately matter. The big thing is that we are down 3-1, right? That's the ultimate key. If you want to talk about anything in the series, the two biggest things that you can talk about are the fact that, one, Tyrese Halliburton has ascended, done whatever, right? You can have the Halliburton conversation. Also, I hate Rob 49 so much because he gave him that damn theme song for the whole thing. So now every edit, every highlight tape has a turn it off. What the hell? Turn the song off. I'm sick of
the Halliburton.
I'm sick of it.
Okay, so the dismantle conversation is just minutia in the day, but I'm with you. They are getting dismantled. They're not getting destroyed.
Yeah.
Let's use some really specific, unimportant verbiage. They're not getting destroyed as in they're getting blown out. But I think dismantling is a good word because I don't think you can point to one single reason to why this team is losing. You know, in a lot of series, you're like, oh, they couldn't defend this. They couldn't shoot well from here. Their rebounding killed them here. The transition killed them here. There's no one thing that I'm narrowing this down to. The Pacers are just an all-around better team. They're better at offense and they're better at defense. They're better at all the important things that matter, all the small things that matter. It feels like the reasons we thought this Knicks team would lose to the Celtics because they had these 1-5 pairing that are great offensively, obviously, but don't really complement each other in a way that maximizes Cat. And their defense is obviously horrendous. It gives you a really, really low floor if things aren't going well offensively, which they often don't because Cat isn't really being maximized. All these things come together, and we didn't really see them as having a chance to beat the Celtics for reasons X, Y, and Z that we talked about all year. That didn't happen against the Celtics. The Celtics melted down. The Knicks got the best of them. They did what they had to do. Every single thing we thought that would be the Achilles heel against the Celtics is the Achilles heel against the Pacers for essentially the same reasons. They're exposing them the same way we thought Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown would. This time it's Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton. Top to bottom, they're being dismantled because they're worse in every significant facet. So they're just, I don't even think it's really that much of a reason to slander the Knicks. They just simply aren't the better team.
Yeah, I agree. And this is the best showcasing for it. It even goes down to like the little things. One of the things that pisses me off when it comes to watching the Knicks is seeing how they have terrible techniques defensively when it comes to getting over screens and shit like that. And even on the offensive end too, they're horrendous at setting screens. I guess maybe someone like Mitchell Robinson is the best when it comes to that. But even then, like outside of that, everyone just don't do a good job of getting close enough or send their feet enough to give someone like Jalen Brunson an angle to get an advantage. So it feels like the offense is literally, like you said, it's the theme of the entire Knicks tenure since Jalen Brunson stepped foot there. It's do or die by Jalen Brunson. And whenever Mikal Bridges isn't on and he's giving you 18 points, which he did turn up towards the second half, specifically the fourth quarter of the game, he hit plenty of clutch threes and whatnot, but it was just like too little too late.
Yeah, again, it's everything we said all year. It's really fucking hard to win with a Cat-led defense. If you're going to do that, you have to get amazing Cat offense. And they came to the conclusion that they really can't get away with starting him at center because of the defense. And you will not get amazing Cat offense with him at power forward. So it's the trade-off. Which side do we balance? And they've done a decent job in these last two games of starting the bigs, but still getting a lot of minutes with Cat at center, picking their spots to get the best of him on offense and the best of him on defense. It's a tricky thread to have to try to, stay on either side of and get the most of him. And this team is just too good to try to figure that out on the fly. The games are close. I know what you're going to say.
No. The way we're talking about the Pacers feels very like grandiose, and it feels just a little bit too much.
So you think it's more bad Knicks than it is good Pacers?
Yes.
Both are true, I think. I think it's bad Knicks, and the Pacers are good enough to cross the threshold that you can't get away with bad Knicks.
Yes, and but that's what I'm saying. Like I don't. Yeah, I just don't think that like that the Pacers are this wildly like this wild juggernaut. I do think, and I'll say this right now. Like if we do end up losing this series, I hope the Thunder kill them. Like I hope they beat them in 3. You know?
What the fuck?
Like I really do hope that happens, and I hope Caruso just runs through Tyrese's face day in and day out, and just over and over and over again. Because the way that they've been able to get the game off, as
if Tyrese Halliburton ruined his life.
the way that they've been able to get their game off. Because
he was trying to set up a whole night 10 and we're gonna go to New York. You ain't going nowhere, bitch. You're staying here.
You thought you was gonna see the Garden.
I said for game 5.
Bozo.
I said for game 5.
You thought we were going to New York for the finals?
He thought he was gonna have a time, bro. Nope, you stay right here in Illinois. Enjoy 60-degree weather.
We can go to Portillo's.
Y'all talk.
I can introduce you to Harold's.
Y'all talk.
Shout out to Ive Avocado for tipping $15. He said, "Don't worry, Don. I got the script right here. Knicks in 9."
Nah, go ahead. Y'all talk.
I didn't see that coming at all. Shout out to Jason Head for tipping $1. He said he sent a trade idea. We'll get to that later. Appreciate you, Jason Head. Shout out to Mo's Hair 16 for tipping $5. He said, "Thanks for helping me pass time as school gets hard. Started watching when I first got accepted to my master's, and today I got my PhD program. Also, Knicks suck ass." Shout out you and your degrees, man. Appreciate it. Knicks at 11.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of things we can talk about.
Yeah.
Again, they're just not the better team. So I'll say that up front. I don't have a ton of slander for them just because my expectations coming into this playoff run, coming into the season, were never Knicks should be in the conference finals. Or maybe, no, they could make the conference finals. But it was never Knicks should be in the finals, right? So this isn't some kind of collapse that I'm like, we got to reevaluate everything. They just are who we thought they were. And who we thought they were is marginally worse than the Pacers in ways that are leading to the Pacers winning these games that are close, ultimately. So it's not a domination, but the better team is winning more often than not. And it really comes down to how good is the Cat and Brunson pairing. Because they're not going to have depth. That pairing has to be amazing, and they are flawed.
I will say this. There's 2 things. One of the things that I'll just get out the way real quick. Tibbs should be fired as fuck. This is embarrassing to lose in fucking 4 or 5 games or whatever. Not 4. 5, 6 games or whatever it might be. He needs to be gone like tomorrow immediately because how creative they've been offensively throughout the entire, like, I don't know, 80 games that we've seen them play, 90 games we've seen them play, it just never fails. He needs to be gone. And on top of that, too, we've been talking about the Cat and Brunson pairing. I guess I want to ask you, Donovan, when you look at someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, you see, I think he's made an all-NBA team, all-star starter. You know, he's had a wildly successful year for you guys. When you see his playoff downfalls and what he is with Brunson and how hard it is to win with him, how do you plan on moving forward with someone like Cat?
I mean, who else is available? Like, Cat's contract is set up to where, and like the Knicks have, they've maneuvered around the CBA and around the second apron to where they have more flexibility than a lot of other contenders. But when you look at other players who have the salary that Cat has, it's all top tier players. So then whenever you're talking about moving around in that tax bracket, okay, who's on the table? If we're talking about Giannis, you're gone. Like it's not a question. But if you're talking about somebody else, like, and obviously it would never happen, but like somebody like Bradley Beal has, $50 million on his contract. If you have somebody in that tier and it's like, are we actually going to make a trade for somebody on that level just to switch it up? No, like I'd rather at this point keep Cat and try to figure some other stuff out, whether that be being more creative offensively, whether that be replenishing the depth in the front court. Like it's taken a long time, but I mean, we played the season with Mitchell Robinson hurting a lot. Precious played a lot. I've always been very fond of Huck Porty. I want to see if you can get anything out of him.
Yeah.
You want to see if you can get anything out of Tyler Kolek and all these, right? Because all of these other players, and you see it in this series, especially in game 3, it's like, oh, wow, we have people on the bench that can actually give us something. And Indiana has just amazing depth to where they can go to a Benedict Mathurin who has played poorly in this series, and then all of a sudden, in 6 minutes, he gets 7 points. You can go to a TJ McConnell who can hold down the fort and do everything. Like, they have guys behind their starting 5 that can at least hold water. Whereas the Knicks, if DeLon Wright is not coming in and hitting a clutch 3, with like 7 minutes to go, then the whole game is going to tear apart. And that's a crazy place to be in when you're in the Eastern Conference Finals and you're like, DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, save us.
Chad, who do you guys view as the biggest problem on this team? Let's talk about on the starting 5, because obviously depth is not a strong suit here. We all feel how we feel about Tibbs. He has his strengths and weaknesses, and we feel like his weaknesses are really shining with a specific roster that needs an offensive-oriented coach, I think. Outside of those obvious things, you can point to Brunson defense, you can point to Cat defense, you can point to Josh Hart, which I'm seeing you guys spam immediately. Point to whoever you want. What is the biggest flaw here that they need to address? Who should be replaced in the starting lineup? When, to your point, you said who's out there for a Cat salary potentially if you're moving him. My mind, again, I haven't thought about this for a single fucking second, but my mind went to Lauri Markkanen. Getting another spacer out there who isn't your defensive anchor, who can be a real power forward, and figuring out another center, because obviously Mitchell Robinson can't play full-time starter minutes, just his style of play. You want him in short bursts, and he gets hurt a lot. Center X plus Lauri Markkanen, something like that. Another expensive guy who isn't one of the best players in the world, but isn't a 5 that can't hold down a defense. Because you need a good rim protector next to Jalen Brunson. You just do. There's a lot of talk right now about his defense being so atrocious, such an just abomination that you can't even blame Cat because Brunson's so bad. That's not true, I don't think. I think the combination of those two is fucking horrible. If you have a terrible rim protector and a terrible point guard, you can't live with both. You can live with a bad defensive point guard. Many teams have done it. Cat just can't be the guy on his back line.
Yeah, and that's fair. For everybody who's saying Josh Hart, also, like, you guys know how much I love Josh Hart. I don't think if he has to go in order to get a prime, if it ends up being Cat, Hart, and whatever to get a prime player, okay, I guess so be it. I don't think he is an inherent problem. I think that this is something that has been a year-long thing of how do we optimize everybody on this roster. And the fact that Mikal has come in and he's somebody who can average 20, 22 on a solid team. OG's offense has grown because of the playoff run last year. You thought you were going to get more out of Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson's ascension. You know what Cat brings offensively. This is one of those cases where there really is only one ball, and you have to figure out how to manage and stagger everybody. So I think Josh Hart didn't have a great mental game, made a lot of mistakes today. I still think he's insanely valuable.
I want a 3-team deal. 3-team deal where the Knicks get Lauri Markkanen and Goga. Cat goes to the Cat goes to the Magic. Yeah. Gives them a stretch 5, gives them spacing, and then whatever the fuck the Jazz want out of that equation goes to the Jazz. Something like that would be cool.
I like that idea a lot. And I honestly lean towards that way too. I look at OG Anunoby, Saul, you deserve your job. Obviously, Jalen Brunson is there for eternity if you could have him. Mikal Bridges, reservations will be out. He's had a very interesting season. I will just say
it's not his fault. I'm actually gonna give him a pass. It's not.
Who'd you say?
Mikal Bridges.
Oh, yeah, Mikal's just Mikal at this point. I don't feel like I need to do any slander to him or any praise to him. He is just Mikal Bridges. He is fine. They gave up too much to get him. We know that. But in terms of the actual problems of why this team lost or why this team won in previous rounds, I just don't attribute that much to Mikal Bridges to really harp on him either way.
Yeah. Also, real quick, tonight, shout out to Aaron Neesmith. Shout out to Aaron Neesmith.
Okay.
Because he had hurt his ankle last game, sprained that thing, turned that thing badly, and his availability for the game was up in the air. Came out today, was hooping, he was knocking down threes. Early on in the game, you could tell it was like, oh yeah, they shot him up because he was moving well and he was jumping and he was doing everything. He had a great game. So I gotta shout out Aaron.
Aside from the doom and gloom, what we're talking about, because we've always been down on the Knicks championship equity. Obviously, I think we've always respected them as like the 3rd or 4th best team in the conference, but we never once thought they'd have a chance of making the finals as far as our regular season perception of them. We just didn't think it'd be the Pacers. So we obviously are taking this approach of like, Told you they weren't that good.
Yeah.
But you could say, first year together, they're in the conference finals. Clearly, they surpassed expectations people like us had of them. The neutral fans who don't give a shit about the Knicks
The
don't have
series should be
fandom.
2-2. Like,
So you can say that.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I'm saying. It should be 2-2.
I don't know if I'd say it should be, but it could be. It very well could be.
Game 1, if you simulate it over 1,000,000 times, every time except for one universe, that is a win.
Nevertheless, the win's on the board.
That's what I'm saying.
But you could say that the Knicks could be in the series, and hell, it's not over yet. So I guess we don't got to pretend it is. Like we don't have to pretend they have 4 wins. So you could take the rose tinted glasses approach and say, year 1, they can only get better from here. They'll replenish their depth over time. Potentially, they'll figure out moves on the margins. We see this core is capable of getting to the conference finals. If you get to the conference finals, you can get to the finals. You're in striking distance.
Yeah.
Is there a reason to feel that copium, to feel good long term still about this core?
Yes, and unfortunately, it comes at the expense of the Boston Celtics
Because they're cooked. Yeah.
Because Tatum tore his Achilles, and because their payroll is so high, and all the changes are coming in. You look at the Eastern Conference, and you go down the list. And it's like 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers, mad questions about them. 2 seed Boston Celtics, they're cooked at least for next year. 3 is us, 4 is the Pacers. 5 you have the Pistons. How close are they to being actually ready? And then once you get 6, the Orlando Magic, they don't know how to play offense, haven't played good offense in 16 years. You continue to go down the list of the Eastern Conference, and especially once you get to 7, you really have no hope for anybody. The 7th team in the East next year could be like the Philadelphia 76ers. And are we going to, and that's if everybody's healthy, whatever. And that's if we would have to believe we're going to get a solid start to finish run from Paul George and Joel Embiid. That's not going to happen. So looking at the Eastern Conference next year, there's very, very good chance that we look up and it's these 2 teams again, because these 2 teams are going to be the healthiest ones. And these 2 teams are going to be the ones that have the most experience, the most championship equity, that have been here, all this other stuff. So that's the reason to look for next year. And again, we might not even be at that point for a long, long time because it's Knicks in 7. But
so let it be known.
That's what I'm saying. There's still 3 games, right?
Yeah.
There's still 3 games. But looking towards next year, the Eastern Conference is wide open.
Because of that, I think you guys have to move with so much urgency.
Agreed.
Because there's no time to sit down and like
we did that to go get Mikal, and everyone's like, "Oh, you paid too much." It's like
Yeah.
we had to strike in that moment. It costs what it costs. I get it. Charge it. Like it is what it is.
And that energy, I need you guys to stand on it 10 toes down absolutely again, because like you said, everything is so wide open. You cannot. The Cleveland Cavaliers, as great as they were, they do not strike any fear into no one's heart in the postseason, specifically because of all the horrendous things that consistently happen to them in the postseason. So I'm immediately moving. I'm figuring out the Tibbs situation. What did you see?
If I'm a Knicks fan, the Cavs strike fear in my heart. Another year of Evan Mobley, the Knicks scare me if I'm a Knicks fan, at least.
I'm not worrying about
the Knicks do scare me as a Knicks fan. Yeah.
True.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Dark Lobster for tipping $10. He said, Don, would you rather the Knicks get cooked by Trae Young or Tyrese Halliburton next year? Pick your belts, bitch.
See, this is tough. This is tough because if it's Trae Young, then it's a 2-on-1 with him and Trae Young. But I can't lose to Tyrese three years in a row.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
I can't do that.
And shout out to Jacob for tipping $1. He said, let Donovan release his demons on Cat.
Hey, yo.
Releases demons on Cat.
Hey, yo.
Oh, man. I don't know how to... Okay, what could they do? So let's say they do decide to keep Cat, right? Let's say they run back this core. Brunson's going nowhere. Cat, presumably in this scenario, goes nowhere. No reason to trade OG. Mikal, you probably don't get adequate value for. So...
it ends up being Josh Hart.
It's Josh Hart plus whatever assets they have left. I can't remember the pick situation on top of my head. Is that even like...
I don't even know if that's worth doing right now.
Well,
Let's say you replace Josh Hart with the guy who complements him better. Let's say Dorian Finney-Smith, whoever it is, another 3-and-D wing who gives you the shooting Josh Hart doesn't.
Hey, man.
More defensive size.
We're eating.
Yeah.
we're if that's the case, we are eating.
So is that enough that you'd feel good like that would be the difference in the series? I don't. I mean, I don't think so.
Is DFS really that much better than someone like Josh Hart?
Yes.
It's about the specific skill set that right now, like not even necessarily who's better. Josh Hart's lack of shooting is a fucking problem.
You have to play DFS like he's a shooter. And there wouldn't be any time in this series where they're allowed to play off of DFS, the way that they're allowed to play off of Josh Hart. And so that in itself just gives you a whole new set of options offensively. So I think that is key. The offensive rebounding, depending on how much you want to, put value into that, whenever you do have Cat and Mitchell Robinson and you feel like you would have a big on the floor that gives you that floor, that's cool. But it's very hard because the Josh Hart transition stuff is one of the few times that this team actually gets out and runs and pushes the pace. Outside of that, we're walking the ball up the floor, right? We're getting into half-court offense, Jalen Brunson time, and it's very, very effective. I'm not going to hate on that. But Indiana gets buckets off of makes. They get buckets off of any single time. As soon as the ball goes in, it's like they're just trained to, like, the ball hits nylon and they like run. And it's like, so they can get out and create so many opportunities. And so I think for New York, there was a stretch in like the second and third quarter, but mainly in the second quarter, where New York was doing the same thing to Indiana. They were getting out, they were pushing the ball, and they were getting easy buckets and getting to the line. That's something that if DFS is not there, this really is going to be like the slowest team in the league.
Yeah, and some people in the chat are saying, we're not going to trade Josh Hart. You can't trade Josh Hart. He's the heart of the team. He gets man's rebounds. Yeah, you don't want to trade Josh Hart, but what options do you have? If you're not going to trade Cat and you're going to continue to run this core back,
I keep telling you what it is.
There's not many things to do. You're going to keep your great wings. You're going to keep your great point guard. Let's say you're going to keep your star center. You're not going to trade Mitchell Robinson. He's been a godsend for you to do everything Cat doesn't do well. They complement each other quite well. Your only real option is Josh Hart. It's not like you're going to have cap space to go out and get somebody. Like, you're not going to have a full mid-level exception. Like, there's very limited options. And to me, again, this is getting so far ahead of ourselves. This is obviously like just like NBA Twitter brain reaction.
Exactly.
Got to make trades. I feel like trading Cat would make sense if the right deal was there. Like, I think it is a fatal flaw to have Brunson and Cat together. I don't know how you can get around that without the perfect scenario, and you can't hope for the perfect scenario every year.
I agree. You have to juice up your defense in my mind. Like, as much as we all harp on like how uncreative their offense is, we've seen time and time again, especially in this playoff run specifically, like, I see OKC doing a lot of uncreative things with their offense currently right now, and they're allowed to get away with it because, of course, they have a generational bucket getter and then a bunch of young guys as well who give them like an insane amount of spacing. But their defense is what allows them, their generational defense at that, allows them to get away with that. And the Knicks have nowhere near that. So that's getting rid of Cat is the easiest answer.
How do the Knicks get Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, and Wiggins? How do we get a bench mob that is the best collection of defensive talent anybody's ever seen?
It's one step at a time, and Cat is the first step. Sorry.
Chicago Bulls, what's up?
Cason Wallace, MVP in the chat, said, ironically, Isaac, are you excited to go to Indiana? Fuck no. I'm absolutely not excited to go to Indiana. I think HOH might want us to go to Indiana.
They're not going to win the series.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I hope.
We're not going to Indiana.
Sam might be like, Indiana or OKC, which one you want to go to? And I'm like, fuck, shoot me.
God damn.
We're not going out there.
I really want New York to win for that reason, because I'm damn sure not going to Oklahoma.
Man.
Shout out Tyrese Halliburton. We haven't talked at all about the Pacers because it's been doom and gloom. The Knicks are cooked, obviously, and we got to lead with that. About them. We got to lead with that. Donovan, he had his ISO moment. Now we got to say good things about the Pacers.
I don't.
And you can sit there and be quiet if you'd like, but we got to say some good things.
I will. I told you a week ago. I'm done saying good things about Tyrese Halliburton.
I have so many good things to say. The motherfucker had a 30-point triple-double.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton is obviously risen to the level that everybody that ever glazed him at any point over the past 4 years wanted him to reach. He is on Twitter getting Steve Nash comps. Yeah. He is modern-day Steve Nash to people because he clearly is taking this team to heights every playoff run, it seems, that nobody thought he could do because he's not a traditional, a lot of points, rebounds, assist guy, right? He's not the heavy scorer, not the heavy rebounder, the great defensive player. He's proven that his style of play just leads to victory. He makes people around him better. Nights like this, he is that points, rebounds, assist guy. He does do the gaudy stat lines people want to see. He's just like a top 12 player in the world. I don't know what number you want to ascribe to the level he's reached, but he's reached a goddamn new level this season, and it's glorious to see.
32, 12, and 15. 32, 12, and 15 in a very pivotal playoff game I saw him fucking defend someone like, I think OG Anunoby or something like that in the post. We saw him in the passing lanes being a fucking menace out of nowhere defensively. We saw him get to the rim as usual and just be super physical and use every inch of that 6'5" frame. We seen him take the craziest, wildest threes and all that. Like, he's been spectacular, and this is like peak Tyrese Halliburton. He's very much now been in like all-time Pacers talk. And seeing him ascend to this level makes me feel like, yo, the same thing like I said to the New York Knicks when it comes to them optimizing this roster. I don't know what's gonna happen in the finals. Who knows if the Knicks actually come back? But they need to continuously apply fucking pressure.
Belts.
Of course, that's the first.
Let's go, Casey.
Thunder and fucking 4. That's what's gonna happen in the finals.
I agree, but at the end of the day, hey, they're gonna make at least OKC sweat for a second.
For a quarter.
Yeah, maybe. What you said about optimizing the roster, that 100% is true. And the thing, like I saw on Twitter, somebody was asking, like, who else can play like Indiana, and someone was like, I mean, really nobody, right? Like outside of OKC, but in terms of playing as fast as they do and putting the amount of pressure that they do nonstop every game. That is a very singular thing.
The only team I could think of getting there, if they had a big mindset shift from their best player and their coach and got the right pieces around them, is the Hawks. I think there's a blueprint there to get the most of Trae Young if he's not a volume scorer, but obviously they got to have a lot of other stuff go right to get to that point. But the only blueprint I could think of is if Trae Young has a total mindset shift, which is a lot to ask. But
you know what's one of my favorite mantras or sayings, lingos or whatever, and the entire like sports base?
I'd like to hear it.
I love hearing the Carolina Panthers say, keep pounding, but I've never seen...
That's my favorite saying. That's my favorite saying.
I love pounding.
The team that literally embodies that is the Indiana Pacers. They continuously keep pounding no matter what. All they know is how to pound. They keep on pounding continuously, pound after pound after pound, no matter what. And you felt the most pounds out of everybody in pound history because, bro... Seeing how
they made it collapse tonight,
bro.
Going crazy.
Seeing how just they have an array of guys to just hit you from every angle, pop, 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 pop. No matter what it is, like it's a Pascal Siakam 3, Tyrese Halliburton. He's going ahead and driving to the rim. You got Andrew Nembhard ISOing the fuck out of someone like,
bro. You didn't even mention the Nesmith hammer.
Oh my god, I didn't even get to talk about Aaron Nesmith. Don't even get me started about someone like Benedict Mathurin who's just random and sporadic with this game. They're just coming from every angle. They exemplify keep pounding.
And he exemplifies getting pounded.
Exactly.
Damn.
You're the poster boy for getting pounded.
The way y'all speaking on me, I don't appreciate it.
If we can speak on you or Jalen Brunson, pick a side. That's enough talk about that. Obviously, we think the Knicks are going to lose this series. It feels like it's all but wraps. People come back before. The two people up here that aren't wearing an orange shirt every night when they go to sleep.
Come on.
But obviously, you can come back for 3-1, so it's not over. But I don't feel inspired by the performance to think they are going to make that miraculous comeback.
Guess what? All the Knicks Twitter pages already got the Photoshop of Jalen Brunson's face on the LeBron.
Oh my gosh.